What if I told you that right now, as you're watching this, there's a specific dollar amount you could invest and it would pay you $85,000 every single year for the rest of your life? You wouldn't need to clock in. You wouldn't need a boss. You'd just wake up, check your account, and the money would already be there. That's not a fantasy. That's math. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how much you need invested to make $85,000 a year in passive income, broken down across 5 different strategies, so you can pick the one that fits your life right now. But first, why $85,000? A study from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences found that Americans earning over $85,000 a year report significantly higher levels of day-to-day happiness. So this isn't a random number. This is the number that science says changes how you feel every single day. Think about what $85,000 in passive income actually means for your life. That's roughly $7,083 landing in your account every single month without you lifting a finger. That's your mortgage covered, your car payment handled, groceries, utilities, insurance, all of it taken care of before you even get out of bed. That's the kind of income that turns a Monday morning from a source of dread into just another day you get to spend however you want. Now let's get into the strategies. The first one is the simplest and safest: high-yield savings accounts. Right now, in February 2026, the best high-yield savings accounts are paying around 4% APY. Some are advertising up to 5%, but those usually come with conditions like minimum direct deposits or balance caps. So let's use 4% as our realistic baseline. At 4%, to earn $85,000 a year, you'd need $2,125,000 sitting in that account. That's a huge number. And the problem is, savings rates don't stay fixed. They drop when the Fed cuts rates. So while this is safe and liquid, it's not a wealth-building machine. It's a parking lot for cash. Strategy number 2: U.S. Treasury bonds. The 10-year Treasury yield right now is sitting around 4.08%. That's a government-backed, nearly risk-free return. To hit $85,000 a year from Treasuries alone, you'd need roughly $2,083,000 invested. Slightly better than the savings account, and you're locking in that rate for 10 years, which protects you from future rate drops. The trade-off is that your money is locked up longer, and you're not getting any growth on top of that yield. Now, strategy number 3 is where things start getting more interesting: dividend ETFs. Let's use SCHD, the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, as our benchmark. It's one of the most popular dividend funds in America, and right now it's yielding around 3.5%. At a 3.5% yield, you'd need approximately $2,428,571 to generate $85,000 a year in dividends. That's more capital up front than Treasuries. But here's the difference. SCHD doesn't just pay you, it grows. Its dividend has been increasing year after year, and the underlying stocks appreciate over time. So while you're collecting $85,000 this year, next year it could be $88,000, then $91,000. Your income isn't flat, it's a rising escalator, and that's the power of dividend growth investing. Strategy number 4: REITs, Real Estate Investment Trusts. REITs are required by law to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income as dividends. That's why their yields tend to be much higher. Right now, the average REIT dividend yield across the FTSE narrate All REITs index is about 4.34%. At that rate, you'd need roughly $1,958,525 to generate $85,000 a year. And some individual REITs are yielding 6, 7, even 8% or more. At a 6% yield, your number drops to around $1,416,667. That's a meaningful difference. But higher yields often come with higher risk, so diversification matters here. A REIT-focused ETF is usually smarter than betting everything on one or two high-yield names. Strategy number 5 is the total return approach, and this is the one most financial planners actually recommend. Instead of relying only on dividends or interest, you invest in a broad market index fund, like the S&P 500, and withdraw a fixed percentage each year. The S&P 500's historical average annual return over the past 30 years is about 10.3%, including dividends reinvested. The widely accepted safe withdrawal rate is 4%. That means your portfolio can sustain a 4% annual withdrawal without running out of money over a 30-year retirement. At 4%, you'd need $2,125,000 to pull $85,000 a year. Same number as the savings account, but with one critical difference. Your money is invested in assets that historically grow at 10% a year. So even while you're withdrawing $85,000, your portfolio has the potential to keep growing. So let's put it all together. To earn $85,000 a year, here's what you need depending on the strategy. High-yield savings at 4%, $2,125,000. Treasuries at 4.08%, $2,083,000. Dividend ETFs at 3.5%, $2,428,571. REITs at 4.34%, $1,958,525. And the S&P 500 total return approach at 4% withdrawal, $2,125,000. Now, I know what you're thinking. Those are big numbers. And you're right. But here's what most people miss. You don't need to get there tomorrow. You just need to start. If you invested $1,500 a month into a diversified portfolio earning 10% annually, you'd hit $2,125,000 in about 25 years. Start at 30. You're free by 55. Start at 25. You're free by 50. The math doesn't care about your background, your job title, or your zip code. It only cares about consistency and time. And here's something else most people never consider. You don't have to pick just one of these strategies. The smartest investors blend them. Maybe you keep 6 months of expenses in a high-yield savings account for safety. You hold some Treasury bonds for guaranteed income. You build a core position in SCHD, or a similar dividend ETF, for growing cash flow. And you let the rest ride in an S&P 500 index fund for long-term compounding. That combination gives you safety, income, growth, and flexibility, all working together. No single strategy has to carry the entire weight. You build layers, and those layers protect you when markets get rough. The real issue isn't whether this can be done, it's whether you're willing to begin now. Because a year from now, you'll wish you had started today. If this helped you see things more clearly, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.